Hello. Okay, I'm going to give you a couple of exercises that I would like you to use instead of lunges and squats. They're going to protect your knee and not have you loading while you're bending. Lots of hinging of the hips, mostly less bending of the knee. Okay, so that's what is going to cause the problem. So first thing you're going to do is a deadlift. So there's 3 exercises I'm going to show you that I want you to use. Deadlift, and there's 2 variations of this one. So hinging at the hip, think about it, pushing your hips back and then pushing them forward using your glutes and your hamstrings. So the hips are going back and forth, not up and down. And I want you to bend your knees slightly. Don't keep it super straight and locked out. I want to have a slight bend in your knees. That way you can get into your glutes more. And see how my back is nice and flat? You're going to keep it flat. You're not going to go below parallel because that's when you're going to tweak your back, all right? So that's the first one. Then a single leg deadlift. Remember how I told you we were going to split stance? So whatever leg is out in front, that's the leg we're working. I'll show you from this side. I'm pushing that left hip back, back's flat, and then I'm coming up, squeezing the glute and hamstring. So you should feel all of the power coming from your hamstring and glute, not your lower back. So your lower back's not lifting you up. You should feel absolutely nothing in your lower back. You should dig your heel in your shoe and drive your heel into the floor as you come up, okay? So you could do, like, if they're doing, 10 squats, you could do 5 single leg deadlifts on each leg, or 10 regular deadlifts, whichever you prefer. The next one's going to be a glute bridge, and you can add weight to this or not. It doesn't really matter. I would add weight, but you can do this with your feet on the floor. Put weights. You can put 1 or 2 dumbbells on your hips, and you push your weight into your heels, and then you lift using your glutes and hamstrings, squeezing, and get into full hip extension here, okay? So all the way down, all the way up. You can do some pulsing if you want. Also, you can do 1 leg glute bridge, like this, like this. Just try to keep your hips going up and down level. Another option is if you have a bench or a BOSU ball, you could put your back on the elevated surface and do a hip thrust. Okay, so squeezing the glutes. Bump it up, it up. Okay, another option is to put your foot or your heel on an elevated surface, your back's on the ground, and do a single leg foot elevated glute bridge. All right, again, targeting the hamstrings and the glutes and protecting the knees. You'll feel a little bit in the front of your legs, but not a lot, mostly in the posterior chain. Okay, so front foot or foot elevated, single leg, glute bridge. That's a mouthful. But anyway, any variation of those exercises, use those instead of your squats and lunges. Definitely, no jumps at all. As far as your quad strengthening exercises, I want you to get on that machine where you're seated. It's a seated leg extension, and there's a little piece of equipment or a little pad right here. You're going to hold on to the handles, and you extend your legs and then bring them back here. Extend and back. Start with lightweight. See how it feels as you extend your legs all the way out. This is where it counts right here, this position. So you're working your legs with your quads in the shortened position. So squeeze maybe like a pause at the top. Do like 10 reps of those with a little slight pause, and you'll strengthen those quads in no time. Another exercise you could do would be like a body weight kind of isometric side step like this. And if you have any bands that you could put around your ankles, or a band, like a rubber band or one of these fabric bands, you could strap here, and you'll be working your glutes and your hips and a little bit of your lateral quad muscles. These are great. Okay, so like any kind of side step any kind of like isometric hold without like really stressing the knees. Another thing you could do would be a seated, and you could do this with one dumbbell, and you can just do this on a bench. You can add weight here, and you can lift and lift. So without loading the knee, we're strengthening the quad. All right, so you can lift like this. You can take your legs straight and lift like that. That's harder. Knee bent is a lot easier. So those two exercises, hamstring curls, those are great. You know, not so much for the quads, but for the hamstrings, which they go hand in hand. But those other exercises that I showed you before, those modifications, those would be what I would say do in class, and then focus on the machine, the leg extension, or just doing this seated on a bench before or after class to get those quads strengthened so we can get you back into tip-top shape. All right, I hope you have a great week. I hope this helped, and I will talk to you really soon.